Hi beauties, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to try out the Lancôme Teint Idole Ultra Wear Concealer. So if you'd like to find out more, then just keep watching. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining me for today's video. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button, as well as turn on your post notifications. That way you won't miss any of my uploads. So recently I picked up this concealer during the Sephora sale. I'm always on the hunt for a concealer that can tackle my dark circles and will work well with my more mature skin. I decided to pick this one up because I have been hearing rave reviews about this concealer. It is the concealer that I'm wearing right now. In today's video, I'm going to try this concealer out. I'm going to tell you what the claims are, and I'm also going to give you guys my first impressions. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. So this is the Lancôme Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer, and I have it in the shade 435 Bisque W, and then underneath that it says 07 Sable. And let's see what they say about this. This retails at Sephora for $29. Sephora sells 20 shades of this concealer. I don't know if that's all of the shades or just how many Sephora sells. There are 2.3 thousand ratings on this concealer, and they almost have 5 stars. So okay, the highlights are that it is hydrating, full coverage, long wearing, matte finish, best for dry, combo, and normal skin, and it is good for dark circles. Ooh, I like that. To correct, it says choose a shade that matches your base skin tone, apply directly on blemishes, dark spots, and redness to visibly even skin tone, tap with finger to seamlessly blend. And then they give you directions on how to contour with this as well. I ordered it online, so the shade that I selected looks okay. It looks like it's maybe one shade or so lighter than my foundation. So let's see. I usually end up with a shade lighter than this, but this looks like it's gonna probably work. Let's shake it up. I like this package. Like, I like how it feels in my hand. However, the doe foot, like, it has a very narrow opening, and so you really have to pull to get the doe foot out. And I'm quite nervous that it might splatter on my clothing or something. It hasn't, but it just makes me nervous. So let's see. Maybe I'll do a brush and a sponge. So here we go. I'm just gonna go in lightly. I didn't dip it back in just to see. I definitely feel like there's probably more over here because I just taken the brush out, but I didn't dip it back in to see if I could do my entire under eye and my nose without going back into the bottle. So let's just see how far I get. Okay, so far the color's not bad. I'm gonna start off with this sponge. This one is by Miss Swiss. It's an affordable sponge. Let's go up the center of the face. I definitely think I'm gonna need more for the center of the face. Kind of thought I was gonna need more. Something in it is kind of really adding a little brightness. I can see that brightness right here especially. So let's do this side with the sponge. I'm gonna go in very light just to see what does a light amount do. I'm just gonna carry the remaining over my lid here. Okay. So that's with a small amount. Now let's try a brush. And this is a Sephora airbrush, Pro Airbrush brush, Flawless Airbrush brush that I like to use for concealer, but I think you could really use it for foundation as well, but because of its size, I prefer it for like concealer. So that's with the brush. So definitely with both the sponge and the brush, it blended out very, very easily. I definitely think I need a little bit more. So I'm gonna go in with a little more. where my dark circles are, and let's go ahead and add a little bit more here. It's a little more full coverage with the brush than the sponge, but I'm gonna go back over this side with the sponge just to make sure it's even on both sides. Okay, so far it feels very lightweight under the eyes, and I'm not seeing any creasing. The dark circles aren't completely covered for me, and I don't want to keep adding, but I kind of do because I want them covered. But it is building. I'm going in with the brush at first just to kind of make sure the sponge isn't lifting it away. So we'll just use this. I don't want to end up with cakey under eyes. I'm not adding any more. The dark circles aren't completely covered in my viewfinder. Sometimes I will still can see them in the mirror and in the viewfinder, but then I'll watch a video back and they aren't visible to you guys, but I still see it. What's that about? I don't know why that happens. I'm liking that it's really lightweight and I don't see it settling in my fine lines. And I just like how it feels right now. It feels almost like I don't have concealer on. The consistency of this is really, really nice. Very thin, but still covers pretty well. And I like the shade that I selected. It is not overly bright. It is a good shade match for my complexion. So let's go ahead and add setting powder. I'm gonna use this Nikkia Joy pressed powder. This is new. I have not used it before. I know I wouldn't normally be using a lot of new products. I'm actually filming multiple videos right now, and I'm gonna take footage and apply it to multiple videos. So I have a little bit on my Wayne Goss brush. I'm gonna go with this for now because I know how this brush works. Ooh, you don't have to try very hard to get very much. I love this powder in the loose translucent. It smells like cake batter, and it is great for anyone with oily skin. It smells so good, oh my gosh. Now I'm gonna take my Coco brush. With the powder on, the lines under my eyes are a little bit more pronounced, but that's typical. The concealer still looks really, really natural under my eye and is not looking cakey, and I had to build it up a little bit to really make sure that my dark circles were covered enough for me, and it still looks really natural even with me kind of baking right now because I'm gonna dust this powder off in a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and complete the rest of my look, and then I'm gonna come back and give you guys my final thoughts on this Teint Idole Ultra Wear Concealer. So I'm back. So let's talk about the concealer. So I have pretty good first impressions of this concealer, and you guys are gonna see me looking like this a few times today. I'm filming multiple videos today. I really like this concealer. This is my first impression. I am very optimistic that I'm gonna really like this. But there was a point in my makeup application after I left you guys where I just sort of felt like I was getting shinier or something in my concealer area. I tend to like to use translucent powder, but today I was trying out this finishing powder by Nikkia Joy, and I really, really love the translucent powder that she makes. So I thought, well, this is probably gonna be just as good, and it is good. It definitely did a good job on the rest of my face. I'm particular about what I set my under eyes with, so I decided kind of partially through the video to go back in with my Laura Mercier translucent powder because I know how this is going to behave, and I just decided to use this one. This is one of my holy grail and everybody's holy grail translucent powder, but I know how it works. I didn't want to end up not liking the concealer at the end of this makeup look because of the powder I used to set my under eyes. So it doesn't mean that that's not a good powder. I just tend to always love using translucent powder. Most of the time when I try using any type of other powder, even my Pat McGrath under eye setting powder, I still will apply translucent powder with that. So I don't know what I was thinking to not do that from the very beginning. I really like this shade. It is not as bright as some of my concealers that I use. The last 3 concealers that I have purchased have been more in this type of shade range. They have been just a little bit deeper than the others that I always use, and I'm liking that. Like, I really like having more of a natural, like a 1 to 2 shades lighter than my foundation. I really like having concealers in my collection that meet that description because they're really great for every day. So I do like that. When I looked at the description of the concealer and read who it was best for, oily skin was not listed as one of the skin types that it was best for. So then I think about, you know, using that finishing powder versus a translucent powder. And before I could complete the end of the makeup look, it started getting a little something, like a little shinier or something. So I know for me, I will probably have to use a translucent powder, and I'll have to choose the powders that are best with controlling my oils and shine whenever I use this concealer to make sure that I don't get oily. Because while I am combo and it is appropriate for combination skin, I am combination oily. Like, I get oily in my T-zone, and that's exactly where I will be placing this concealer. So that's something that I will have to think about whenever I use this, and it's something that I'm passing along to you all who may be thinking of purchasing this, that if you have oily skin, maybe it's not the best for your oily skin. I could tell when I swatched this, when I purchased it, that it is very creamy, and when I applied it, it's very creamy. It blends out easily and seamlessly, which probably means there's something in it that makes it so easy to blend. So people who have dry under eyes are probably gonna love this. It's not one of those stiffer concealers. It's just a really creamy consistency, and it blends out so beautifully. But that being said, there's probably something in it, some ingredient that makes it not the best and not most suitable for someone who has like an oily T-zone like myself, or oily skin in general. I'm going to use my Laura Mercier powder whenever I use this. This is a new one of my Nikkia Joy translucent powder, but I wanted to try the finishing powder today because it was new, and I have tried the Nikkia Joy translucent powder before, but that one is really good for oily skin as well, so I will probably use that as well with this concealer. Just want to really pass it along to be careful if you have an oilier T-zone. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below how you think my under eyes look. I think it has done a really good job of covering those divots that I always talk about, where you kind of see an indentation here, and I do have that with my dark circles, just a little bit of an indent, and it has done a good job of smoothing my under eyes. But I did have to go in 3 times to really get it to build up to where we are right now. And looking at the monitor and looking at my camera, I still see a little bit of a shadow under my eye. I will continue to work with this to see if I can get it to a place where my dark circles are not showing. I didn't want to use this with a color corrector because I really wanted to see what it would do by itself. From your perspective, you may not be able to see the dark circles at all, or you may say, no big deal, it's not that bad. For me, I don't really care if they're completely covered or not, but if you claim to be really good for dark circles, then I want to see how good it really is. Now, I really like whatever's in it that is making my skin brighten, because it's not that bright of a shade, but there's something in this that's kind of giving me this sort of glow right in the center of my face. I can definitely see that it has something in it that is brightening. Like I said, it's very smooth and it was easy to apply, and I can see why so many people love this. So far, so good. I really like how my skin looks. I like how my T-zone looks, and I look forward to working with this again and really seeing, you know, what primers work best with it, what powders work best with it, and can I build it up to a place where I'm not seeing any shadows at all. You, again, may not be able to see any. You may say, what shadows? But I can see a few right here in person, and I'd like to see none. I'm asking for like miracle. I'm asking for a miracle. So that is my quick little demo and first impression review of the Teint Idole Ultra Wear Concealer by Lancome. I will continue to work with this, try it out some more, and see what I think about it over time. And if my opinion changes or if I have any updates for you guys, I will leave that down below. So thank you so much for joining me for today's video. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will respond. And if you've not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button before you leave. So I'll be seeing you guys again very soon in my next video. So until the next time we meet again, this is Savvy signing out.